Ever since moving into this house, I've never really had a place to put all of these yard tools like I had in my old house. You might remember a shed video a while back where I organized a tool wall that held all these shovels and rakes and hoes and everything and ladders. Well, I'm going to do it again, only this time we're going to build a little lean-to shed. Very simple, very quick build. Should be. Haha, famous last words. Obviously the ladder won't fit, but everything else should. So come with me. Let's build a lean-to shed over here. Hello, I'm Chad with Just Add Wood, and I'm going to turn this blank spot of brick wall next to my well pump. It's almost unusable space into a little lean-to shed, which should look a little something like this. Give you a quick tour before we get into how we built it, but this is my shed. So put some cute little hardware on there from Amazon, and I just really wanted a simple place to hold my rakes and shovels and pole saws and post hole diggers and all of that stuff. That was easy to access, and I didn't want to pour a foundation, and I didn't want to pour a footing, and I didn't want to have to do a whole framed deal, but it holds everything I needed to hold. And what you saw on the right of the screen at the beginning of this video was already a shed on the property, so I didn't want to extend that and pour more concrete and extend everything out. So I just wanted to have a spot for some implements of destruction for the yard. So this is what I came up with. If you like this sort of thing, stick around to the end of the video and I'll give some insight into whether or not I would or would not build this again if given the chance, and some insights as to what I might do differently if given the chance. So let's get into it.
All right, so getting started, first thing we need to do is build 3 boxes. And what these boxes are going to be, let's see if we can draw this out. We need 3 2x4 boxes like that. And then we're going to have another one up here. And then we're going to have another one up here. The one up here is going to be slanted because it's going to be roof. And then at some point we'll connect them all together and have 3 boxes. Does that make any sense? Anyway, let's build some boxes. Now, the overall dimensions of this shed is going to be 5 feet wide and 7 feet tall-ish. So my intention is to build these boxes slightly smaller because we're going to have 2x4s on the outside of the 3 individual boxes to help pull it all together. So I'm going to build these inside boxes, these 3 boxes, 3 inches narrower in each direction, so that, I guess, 1.5 inches in each direction, so that the 2x4s on the outside, and then my overall dimension is about 5x7. So anyway, let's do that. Let's talk about mistakes. First mistake is I didn't line the blade up right to get 2 even identical cuts on my French cleat pieces. I wanted this to be right down the middle. Obviously it's offset, so one piece is smaller than the other. I'm going to show you in just a second how to avoid this next time. It's super easy. I just forgot to do it. I marked the board in the half, and then I set my blade to half and completely forgot to offset for the 45. So going forward, what you want to do is mark the board in half. This is a 2x6, so it's 5.5 inches wide. 2 3/4 is the halfway mark. What you want to do then is measure the thickness of the board, which is 1.5 inches. Half of the 1.5 inches is 3/4 of an inch. So you want to slide your mark over 3/4 of an inch. This is really hard to do one-handed. We're going to mark this thing 3/4 of an inch over from the center point, 3/4 of an inch, which is going to bring us over to 2 inches. That's where we're going to line the top of the blade up, and so that our 45 will then leave 2 identical halves with a 45 on one face. So there we go. Let's try it again. Here we go. Now, let's look at, that's fantastic. Look at that. How about them apples? Perfect. All right, we're going to do 10-degree cuts. Do you know how to get 10 degrees on a, is this microphone even working anymore? Do we know how to get 10, does anybody else know how to get 10 degrees on a speed square? Let me show you. You get degrees, oops, to get degrees on a speed square, pretty easy. So they have on most speed squares, they have a pivot point here. I don't know if you can see that in the sun, but anyway, it says pivot there in the corner. So that's the pivot where you would just spin it. And then you have all sorts of markings over here on the long side, which is degrees and common rafters and hip and valley rafters, depending on what you're cutting. I'm just cutting degrees, and I want to cut a 10-degree mark. So I'm going to line up the pivot on the corner, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to line this up until it hits 10 degrees there on the edge. And then that, you draw it over here, it's that 10-degree angle. I'm just guessing at what my roof slope's going to be. So I want this to hang down about 10 degrees. Sounds good. So that's what I'm running with. Let's do it. Well, when you're building from a napkin, lots can go wrong. And so a good set of plans are crucial to a successful build. However, my crayon drawing of how I thought this should go together was close, but more mistakes were made. So when I initially built these boxes, I built them to be 18 inches deep. And I knew that because there would be a 2x4, I had to cut the middles down, if you recall, because I knew there'd be 1.5 inches on the top and 1.5 inches on the bottom. So overall, I wanted it to be 18 inches. Well, I forgot I was adding another 2x4 across the front to connect all 3 boxes, and so I'd have something to bolt my door hinges to. So now I am oversized. So I got to take 1.5 inches out of these. And also, silly me, didn't consider that my middle box doesn't need to be a box, because I'm going to have about a 6-inch sides and then 2 24-inch doors and a 6-inch side. And this is going to be in the way of the doors. How are you supposed to get any tools in or out of this shed if you have a box in the way? The bottom box is going to be on the bottom, and it's going to not be in the way at all. And the top of the box is not going to be in the way at all. But this one is in the way. So let's fix my mistakes. All right, so basically what we have here is an outline for a shed. So it's going to be overall dimensions 18 by 5 and about 6.5 feet tall. And we have a little slanted roof, but it's fine because it's going to go underneath an overhang like this, and I'll show you in just a minute. But this is the basic framework of it. And because we're going to use French cleats to hang it up before it gets too heavy, I'm going to go ahead and temporarily put it in place and mount the French cleats into the brick wall. So wish me luck. Let's go. This gets the angle so it can set on there. Let's see if it works. Wow. Pretty good, actually. Let's grab a level. Level devil. Dang, pretty close, actually. Not bad. Oh, that's looking good. Nice. I'm liking that. I think that's good. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. All right, we're looking good. Just drill another one. Let's make sure we stay pretty level. Where's my pencil? Let's draw a line. And these are 5/16 4-inch Amazon specials because I couldn't find the 5/16 4-inch in the Tapcons. Man, that's really clamps down. Let's make sure we stayed level. Woo, on the money. And all because I left my little Ryobi hammer drill on my last job. Had to use the big one for this. It is what it is. All right, let's see what happens. See if we can even mount this bad boy. This is gonna be tricky. Tricky. I'm not tall enough. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Like this? Oh, okay. There we go. And kick it out at the bottom. Why are you so long? Definitely gonna have to cut that down a little bit, huh? Should have seen that coming. I should have seen that coming. Oh gosh, is it gonna come off of there? This is gonna be fun, huh? Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's get you off of there. There we go. Bring you down. Set you in place. Okie dokie. Up the wall. And it's gonna go in place. Kick the bottom out. Do that booty exercise. There we go. It is in like Flynn. Imagine with me, if you will, we have a couple of doors. We're gonna have hang up some shovels and some rakes. Have some crap down here at the bottom. It's gonna be great. Just what I'm talking about right there. And I'll mess up. You should have countersunk them. That's okay. All right, let's take it down. Finish building it. Because basically, what we've got to do is put siding on the outside, build the doors, put plywood on the inside, put a bottom in it, put a roof on it. Let's do it. It'll be great. Let's finish building it. Some of you keen-eyed viewers might notice that I put a roof piece of plywood on the top, and I added a couple of braces there on the bottom. I did the same thing under the roof to give it a little more support, because I am going to add a plywood bottom as well. But let's go ahead and roof it. Now, I know this isn't proper roof techniques, but I had a leftover bundle of shingles, and so I'm just going to use those to roof this, to get rid of them and get them out of my garage. I'm not using any underlayment or any felt, because this is primarily going underneath the eave of the house anyway, so it should shed water just fine. I'm just going to use what I got. Oh, we're going to turn these first one upside down. I guess I should probably have a hammer, huh? Let's see, where's my hammer? What our shed looks like. It's a roof. A roof. A roof. Okay. We're going to hang it up for what I hope is the last time. It's getting too heavy once I put the roof on it. So I'm going to put the siding and the interior plywood on in place. So, wish me luck. Oh, this thing's heavy. That's gonna suck. All right. I don't think I can lift that high. Well, the gnats are eating me. I think I lifted that high. All right, we gotta rethink this. Put a floor jack under it, you're not getting 21 inches of lift out of it. Yeah, this is gonna suck. Let's find out what happens.
That's all for good. Well, that sucks. You go the rest of the way, huh?
This just seems like a really bad idea. Well, I'm okay. So that's good, right? Man, look how close that is. There we go. Woo-hoo. So in my significant lack of planning, I did not countersink my lag bolts for the French cleat. So they're standing proud from the board. And so on the back side of my plywood, I'm just marking the location at the tops because they're all lined up. I'm just gonna countersink holes in the plywood for the proud bolts. Woohoo! Let's find out how this is going to look. There are two pieces of siding. What I've done, because I want to line up, I want to make sure the tongue and groove lines up on my doors just right. I haven't fully cut out my doors yet. I want to get these pieces mounted and shifted because I'll have some play to room to fudge the dimensions because it's going to get corner boards to cover up any slight gaps. So I just want to get this board up and get the other board in place and adjust it left to right so that my doors line up right. When the time comes, I'll start the cut, I'll bolt the hinge on, I'll finish the cut and bolt another hinge on. So the doors will stay put where they are. Well, that's the plan anyway. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we put that up. Ow. Oh, this is going to be gorgeous. All right. I like the gap. Let's check it out. Yeah, I like the gap. Mind the gap. As we'll finish nailing these up. And then when I go by my hinges, I'm going to wrap, you know, like a country shed. I'm going to wrap it in 1x4 or 1x3 or whatever. Wrap the doors. I'll cut part of the door. I'll mount the hinge. Cut it. I'll mount the hinge. Then we'll cut the rest of the doors. The doors shouldn't move. The gaps will stay the same. And then we'll have a little shed. All right. Man, I'm impressed myself sometimes. Okay. That's enough for today. Let's go to the beach.
Due to the scale of the shed, it's pretty small after all. I just decided to go with a 1x3 trim. In doing so, I had to pick smaller hardware. There's not a lot of hinges or hardware that'll fit on a 1x3 trim. So what I'm doing here is I'm laying out where the hinges are going to go. If you recall, I did not cut that that vertical slit from my door. I just cut the horizontal top and bottom. So I'm laying out where the hinges go. Then I'm going to very carefully run the saw in between the 1x's enough to get past the hinge. Then I'm going to mount the hinge. Then I'm cutting another little strip. Then I'm going to mount the hinge. Then I'm going to cut the rest. I did have to clean up the corners with a little oscillating tool, but this was the only way I could think of to keep my reveal right and to get the doors to not move at all. They stayed exactly in place. I cannot believe this worked. I'm so tickled As you can see the expression on my face there, I'm super tickled that it worked. But that way, the doors were mounted as part of the fascia, as part of the siding on the front. And then when I cut the slits, the doors didn't move at all. There was no sag, the gaps remained consistent, and the tongue and groove, everything stayed great. So that's how I did my hinges. I would fully recommend doing that. It just worked out super duper well. And this is what I got. It was great. So I'm not sure why my microphone kept dying on me. So bask with me in silent glory.
Well, we've had a couple of day break due to some rain and some other things going on. I wasn't able to finish the shed, so let's put the finishing touches on it. Obviously, I ran out of wood, which is part of why we had a stopping point the other day. I had to go get another piece of 1x3, and so I've got my piece of 1x3, and I'm going to add that. I'm going to add a couple of magnetic catches up at the top, go along with my cute little toy hinges from Scamazon. I've also got a little latch I'm going to use because it's small enough for the 1x3 hinges. I had to consider scale for everything on this shed because this was a smaller shed built for just tools and shovels and rakes and whatever. And so I felt like a 1x4 or 1x6 trim would just not be the right scale. So I used 1x3s to wrap the doors and the corners with, and thus I had to use smaller pieces for the rest of the project. So anyway, let's get them installed. Let's do a couple of little magnetic catches at the top. Here we go. All right, let's look at the hardware, where it's going to go now. Let's give it a couple of little handles. How about that? Now we have handles and a latch. Latch could be better. I'm not gonna lie. It could be a better latch system. Let's lay out rakes and shovels and see where everything's gonna go. We have a lot to fill in. I've got these rakes which aren't going to fit very well. I don't think there's going to be any real way to hang these up. They're so wide and not be in the way of everything else. We should hang them way up high, which then would be in the way of everything else. When I think I can hang everything else way up high and just have these on the bottom, along with this rake and this rake and this rake. How many rakes does a person need? That'll leave room up above, for example, shovels, of which I also have too many. But if we take the shovels and we hang them up high, they'll be out of the way, I guess. So we can do flat shovels, pointed shovels, and then maybe shorter things here, and then something else here. I'm not sure. We also have a set of post hole diggers, which could go here. That would be fine. All right. I think that's going to work just fine. Let's do flat shovels next, which, again, I have too many. We're going to put them here. And because, like most dads, I guess, I have a weird obsession with hanging onto scrap wood. So we're going to use scrap wood to hang up the shovels. That's pretty easy to do. If you saw my video a couple videos back, organizing a shed, same principle, using leftover wood, leftover pieces from other project, cut down to create hangers for tools. So that's all we're going to do here. These, I think, will be long enough for the shovels. So we're just going to cut them, go from end to corner, like that. And there's our cute little triangles to hold up the shelves. Very nice. Stay the same. All right. Let's put them on the wall. We'll put our calibrated eye on it. That's going to be a pain in the ass, isn't it? That's all right. I think they're going to be just fine. Shovels are in. All right, let's do pointy shovels. Pointy shovels. I'm going to go a little lower on pointy shovels. I think we'll do pointy shovels right there. I already have my 2 pieces made. My 2 little triangles. Look how cute. All right. Real quick. That went awfully wide, didn't it? Why is that so wide? We did it the wrong way, fellas. This was supposed to be 3.5 inches wide, not long ways. Let's take it apart. This needed to go this way. That's better. That's more like a shovel holder. All right. Now let's go hang it up. Let's use our calibrated eye. I think it's pretty level. We can hang a shovel in it and find out. Yeah, hangs down pretty straight. I mean, you could also use a level, but who wants to go back to the garage and get a level? Let's just hang it. Oh yeah, this is brilliant. This is the way it's done. Put some shovels right here and some shovels right here. I forgot about my little sharpshooter flat shovel right there. Hopefully they won't come spinning out of there and land on my head when I open the doors. So I've got the little hedge clippers and pruners and things that I wanted to hang up as well. So not sure yet where though. Sorry everybody, my microphone has died yet again. No worries, I've ordered a new one. This should be resolved in my next video. But this, I promise you some insights. This has been a great exercise in just sort of flying by the seat of my pants, building from imagination, using much scrap leftover materials as possible to get rid of some of these piles of leftover materials and scraps and cutoffs that I have. And I'm just sort of holding up things for layout where I think they should go and where they'll be accessible. I held up the shovels and just thought they should go there. And here I'll give you the grand tour. This is the shed, and you'll see obviously we painted it, and we painted the old brown shed that was next to it on the right as well. But here we've got the shovels and the rakes and the pointy shovels and the pole saws and the fence post pounder and the got my maul up there. This was also an exercise in leftover hooks. So, if you've ever outfit a garage or two, you wind up with a drawer full of leftover crap. So I had some leftover hooks. I had some leftover materials. I laid everything out just sort of by the seat of my pants to see what I thought would be accessible and easily returnable to the shed. So the tools are where they're at, where I need them. It's got a plywood floor, so I can unload items that don't hang up so well on the bottom of the shed. But beyond that, I promise you some insights, and here are some of the insights. If I were to do this again, I probably wouldn't frame it like a house build, like using 2x4s and framing. I would probably just build a giant plywood box. It'd be a little money in plywood, but a little less than 2x4s. I'd build a giant plywood box, put a roof on it, and hang it up with French cleats all over again. So beyond that, I'm super pleased with the way it turned out. I hope you liked following along. Please subscribe, like, and follow, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.